Hey guys, we're going to go over your two-step equation notes just in case you've missed them or need to review for them. So here's your two-step equation notes. From what we learned from one-step equation, the opposite of addition is subtraction, and the opposite of multiplication is division, and division is multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Okay, these are arrows if you can't see. Okay, so I need to know those two things. The opposite of addition is subtraction, the opposite of multiplication is division. So my first step, what I need to do in order to solve for the variable is add or subtract both sides of the equal sign to isolate the variable. So first I need to draw my line straight down from the equal sign, so that way I know where the middle of my equation is. Okay, so I need to add or subtract both sides of the equal sign to isolate the variable. So I need to get this 2x by itself first in order to solve for x. So in that case, what I need to do is get rid of this positive 5. The opposite of a positive 5 is a negative 5. So I'm going to subtract, because the opposite of addition is subtraction. Subtract both sides by 5. So those are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down my 2x, because that's all I'm left with, equals 21 minus 5. That is going to be 16. Okay, the next step I need to do is either multiply or divide to solve for the variable x. So variables could be H, Q, L, M, any letter of the alphabet can be a variable. So remember that if these two are next to each other, it means multiplication. So I need to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. You can also think about it as if they're married, and the opposite of marriage or multiplication is divorce or division. So both of these, 2 divided by 2 is going to give me 1. So I'm left with x equals 16 divided by 2. That's going to give me 8. So I solved what x equals, which is 8. So our last final step that you need to do, and you don't need to do it every time, but I'd highly suggest it just to make sure that you got your numbers right, is check your answer by plugging x back into the equation. So what that means is I'm going to take this 8 and replace it anywhere that there's an x. So all I'm going to do is take it and plug it back into itself. I'm basically going to take the 8 and put it straight over the 2. So it's going to look like this. It's going to be 2 parentheses, because that's where my x is, 8 plus 5, so I'm going to rewrite the whole equation down here, equals 21. I need to make sure that all of that does in fact equal 21. So 2 times 8 is 16. Bring everything else down. Plus 5 equals 21. I know that 16 plus 5 does in fact give me 21. So I know that my answer is correct. Let's try some more practice examples. All right, so I'm going to start with the number 1 that you have on yours. And it says 4x plus 10 equals negative 26. So first, I need to draw my line. My first rule said that I need to add or subtract both sides to get the variable by itself. So in this case, I have a positive 10. So the opposite of a positive, or a plus 10, is a minus 10. So that's going to cancel. 10 minus 10 will give me 0, which is what I want. I have to do it to both sides. So now I have 26 minus 10. If you remember the keep change rule, what it states is you're going to keep the first number, so my first 26, the same. Keep that the same. The minus is what's going to be changed to the opposite of it, which would be a plus. Therefore, it makes my 10 a positive. So I actually need to keep change and change that to a negative 10. So I have negative 26 plus a negative 10. That is what this is stating, both of them. So since I know that it's going to become more negative, I know that negative 26 plus negative 10 is going to give me negative 36. What I have left over here is just a 4x. So then, for my second step, it states that I need to either divide or multiply. So since these are multiplied together, they're next to each other, I'm going to do the opposite, which is to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is going to give me 1, so 1x, or just x. Now I have a negative divided by a positive. So anytime you have a negative divided by or multiplied by a positive, since they're opposite signs, it's going to be a negative. So I know that my answer is going to be negative. 36 divided by 4 is what? 9. So I have negative 9. Pause the video at any time. We're going to move to the second one for you. So draw my line. Boom. First step done. Now I need to isolate 2x by getting rid of that 9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite of that 9, which is negative 9, or minus 9. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. These are going to cancel. All I'm left with is 2x on the left side. 35 minus 9. What is 35 minus 9? 26. Yep, 26. So now what I'm going to do, my second step tells me to do is divide or multiply both sides to get x by itself. So do the opposite of whatever it's doing here. So since this is multiplication, I'm going to divide by both sides. These 2's cancel to create a 1. Bring the x down. 26 divided by 2 is what? Yep, lucky 13. So then we got 13. So let's move to the next two. All right, let's do 3 and 4. Draw your line. First step, get rid of any number essentially without a variable because we're trying to solve for the variable, right? So I'm going to do the opposite of negative 10 or minus 10, which would be a plus 10 to both sides. So solve that out and see what we get. So since I owe you $40 and I only give you 10, I'm still going to owe you money. So I'm going to owe you $30. Okay, these cancel. I'm going to bring down my negative 5x this time. All right, so now these are multiplied together. The opposite of multiplication is division, right? So you need to divide both sides by negative 5. Make sure you carry the negative with you because I want everything over here gone. I want to divide without having to divide again. So now we're dealing with two negatives. I have a negative divided by a negative. Since they're the same sign, I know that it's going to be positive. This also works with multiplication. A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so 30 divided by 5 is going to give me what? 6. Yep, good job. All right, let's do number 4 together before this video has to end. and I'll create a second video for 5 through 8. So we're going to draw a line. What we're going to do is we are going to do the opposite of a negative 17, which is a positive 17, because my first rule states I need to add or subtract to both sides to get them alone, to get the variable alone. So I'm going to bring down my negative 12x. If I owe you $89, that's a lot of money. I only give you 17 of those dollars. It's still going to be negative. I'm still going to owe you money. 9 minus 7 is 2. 8 minus 1 is 7. So I still owe you $72. Sorry. So the final step, what we need to do, since this is, again is multiplication, the opposite is division. So I need to divide whatever is attached to my x. So I need to divide both sides by negative 12. These are going to cancel. I'm left with just 1x, or x. What is 72 divided by 12? Without using a calculator. So 72 divided by 12, I know that it can go in 6 times. So my answer is negative divided by negative is a positive stated over here. It's going to be plus 6. Okay, so for my next video, before you go and view the last few, what I'd like for you to do is actually try them out on your own first, and then watch the video and see how you did. Okay? Let's move on to video 2.